I said you should hold on to non-fungible tokens, and let me take it away from you. They're also called NFTs, and they've taken the world by storm. They are cryptographic assets on a blockchain with unique identification codes and metadata that distinguish one from the next. Yes, we're going to get someone to explain all of that. Now, creators such as artists, graphic designers, photographers, and more, me and you included, can make money out of NFTs. Even Nigerian musician Don Jazzy made some $300,000 in 10 minutes on an NFT after he added background sound to 3 pieces of art created by a digital artist. Yeah, apparently it's that simple. Now, based on blockchain technology, they were initially thought to be secure, but that apparently is not the case. According to crypto analytics firm Eplict, over $100 million worth of NFTs were stolen between the start of 2022 and July. Ola Atose, founder of Koinkoin Exchange, is back with me. He's joining us from London in the United Kingdom. Ola, NFTs, they're everywhere. They're new, not so new, but they're slightly new. But we're hearing so much about it. Please make sense of it. What exactly is a non-fungible token, NFT? I don't want to embarrass myself this morning. Just take it away.
Well, Tolu, very good morning to you. It's always a pleasure to be on. Yes, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, as you call them, they're tokens. They're unique, tokens, of course, built upon the blockchain, which this is all about. But what differs with NFTs, and of course, the security issue, which you highlighted, comes largely from what we call the smart contract layer, which sits, above the blockchain for these transactions to do with NFTs. So NFTs again they're unique. Mostly they're pieces of art, if you like. So things like digital items, JPEGs. Some with music, some without music. There's a whole sort of following among certain type of NFTs, whether it's the Daft Punk or all these are sort of images which are being bought and sold online, and as you say, for large amounts of money. Of course, if there's a celebrity behind it or a well-known entity behind it, there's a good chance that the NFT will actually sell, for a large amount of money. But just because it sells for a large amount of money once doesn't mean it's going to do so a second time. A typical example of that is the NFT of Jack Dorsey's first tweet on Twitter. So again, these NFTs, and I guess why we're discussing them is there's a lot of money involved. A lot of money has gotten involved, and of course, a lot of money has been lost. We can cite Axie Infinity, which is a game where there's I think it's got about 8 million different players. A number of people have NFTs which they've bought, which they have to purchase to play the game, and then that's gone on to another level because all the funds which are used to purchase these NFTs are all kept within that ecosystem, which again is not directly on the blockchain, but in the layer above, which is a smart contract layer.
Okay, Ola, before you go Ola, before you go further into that smart layer that stands right above the blockchain, I need to take you back to something, and that's the valuation. So you talked about maybe if a celebrity is involved, it tends to increase the value, but we didn't exactly see that play out with Jack Dorsey's tweet. And my mind is struggling to wrap around how an NFT of Jack Dorsey's tweets, which is available for everyone to see online, becomes something that is valued. So my next question here has to be, how are they valued? I know that not every NFT is valuable. Some are even at 0.0 something to the dollar. But those ones, like the Don Jazzy one, $300,000. And many in Nigeria remember a young photographer who photographed an old Baba, as we would call him, who was playing the drums. And that also sold internationally very well. So how do NFTs get their value?
Well, I guess it's simple, really. An NFT, like anything, is worth the amount of money someone's willing to pay for it. And I guess in the instance of Jack Dorsey's tweet, at one point someone was willing to pay, I can't recall the exact amount, but it was well over $1 million. But that was the one time. And then now, given what's happening with the industry as a whole, perhaps people are not willing to sort of make large payments for NFTs. In some way, it's almost a sort of store of value if you own a unique, NFT. The idea is it should be worth something, and then of course, if you wish to sell it on, it's then worth more, right? Or depending on how long you've had it for, or what what's been said about that particular NFT, and of course the history is there. How much was it bought and sold for previously? That would perhaps determine how much it would be worth, in the future. So I think, again, from a more sort of traditional perspective, the reason why we're discussing this is there's been a lot of money made on NFTs. There are gamers who, have made so much money that they've been able to make more money than, their 9 to 5 or their day-to-day jobs. And of course, a lot of money has been lost.
Yes.
Some money has been stolen by phishers, hackers, and what have you. That's why we have to discuss it. And of course, what can be done to perhaps help this burgeoning, area within the digital asset space grow. What can, help it become more mainstream, maybe, and what can be done about these security issues. I think these are questions which are still outstanding.
Okay, so let's talk about the security issues. So what we're hearing from the analytics firm is that there's a lot of money apparently that's involved in this, but criminals are being able to scam. And initially the loophole looked like it was really tied to blockchain, which many people have been sold as this ultra secure platform and technology. But you're talking now about a layer above blockchain. So where is the loophole? How are scammers and criminals being able to really dispose people of their NFTs and along the way their money as well?
Yeah, so what we find is there's a number of different things that they're doing. I mean, one thing that they are doing is they're making, in some cases, they'll just sort of find an NFT, like a JPEG or something which was sold for a lot of money. They'll recreate it and they'll try and resell it to unwitting and unknown, participants who could then go ahead and part with their funds. Once they part with their funds, that's it. They can't get their funds back. Another thing that we know they're doing is they're able to get their hands on private keys for a number of these transactions, which again, these private keys sit within that smart contract layer. The smart contract, in essence, is just it's typically underpinned by an Ethereum transaction where funds are exchanged for an item, where the item's an NFT. So in some cases, private keys are lost. The nefarious individuals will perhaps get their hands on private keys, which are the underlying codes which drive these transactions. In some cases, these smart layers are built but not built very well. So there are a lot of bugs in the software, and there are a lot of things that they should have done that they haven't done in terms of the checks that they have to go through before sort of going through to production. And we find that in some cases, again, hackers, phishers and all these sort of type of individuals are looking for weaknesses. And once they're able to get in, they're able to sort of get the funds out. And once they get the funds out, obviously the platform takes a hit, takes a loss, and then they look to cash that out. But what's actually been good is in some cases where they've been able to get funds out, the funds are quite high. I think in one case, up to $500 million worth of assets were stolen. But again, they couldn't cash it out. And because they couldn't cash it out, the funds often sit there for a long time. So they steal the funds, but they can't get the funds. In recent times, I think one such platform which was used to launder proceeds that were stolen is called Tornado Cash.
Yes.
And they were sort of called up by the SEC, which then obviously shut it down. So there are a lot of players out there, sort of individuals, hackers, whatever we want to call them, nefarious individuals who are simply looking at all these platforms. They know there's a lot of money there. They're looking for weaknesses, and they're actually trying to get their hands on those funds once they get the weaknesses, which again is typically in that smart contract layer, exposure of private keys, and a number of other things to do with the software. So our view at the moment specifically is all the NFT type platforms need to start looking at what the more established and traditional entities that have a lot of funds do. So exchanges, not just digital exchanges now, but banks, traditional banks, There are layers and there are processes which protect information technology, which protect business continuity. A lot of these things have been baked into the way traditional finance works.
And that should then translate.
Themes, right. We should now start thinking of translating that and moving that across.
Okay, Ola, I'm going to have to hold you to a promise to come back next week. I don't think we've even scratched the surface on this NFT conversation, but I do have to go. So can we get a promise for you that we'll continue talking about NFTs and how not you don't need it right now, how I can make money and some other people as well?
Well, if you want to make money, you'll have to call me offline. I'll tell you all my secrets.
Okay, we'll take this conversation offline, Ola, don't worry. But next week, we'll continue this conversation so that we can at least more educate people more and also work with them to keep their money safe as well. Ola Atose, thank you so much for joining me. It's a date with him next week. We'll continue this conversation on non-fungible tokens, NFTs. So if you have questions, don't forget to shout out News Central at News Central TV. We'll look for your questions and ask Ola those questions for next week. But what we have coming up for you right now is NC4 to watch. Stick around. And now stories we're keeping our eyes on. In South Africa, the country's Central Energy Fund shows that the price of 95 unleaded petrol is expected to fall by around 2.28 Rand a litre in the first week of September. The price of 93 petrol could drop by around 2.12 Rand a litre. The Democratic Republic of Congo has begun rationing jet fuel following a severe shortage that left it struggling with a pileup of planes in Kinshasa. In a statement, the state-owned Congo Airways affirmed the decision and added that due to a shortage of Jet A1 fuel throughout the DRC, it has reduced frequency to some destinations, canceled a number of flights, and changed flight times to deal with the crisis. Kenya Power has revived its bid for a review of electricity prices months after power charges were slashed by 15%, dealing a heavy blow to its finances. The utility firm will submit a new tariff application to the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority between October and December. And finally, Kenya's Treasury Department has asked cabinet secretaries and parastatal CEOs to prepare budgets for the year starting July 2023 using the policies of outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration amid uncertainty on when the new head of state will take office. The 7-bench Supreme Court is sitting to set rules for the hearing of 9 cases on the disputed outcome of the August 9th presidential vote. And that's Business Edge. Don't forget, if you have questions about NFTs, send them our way. Reach out to us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can follow us on social media there. You can, of course, subscribe to our YouTube page, download our mobile app, and watch us on the platforms we are available. 11 a.m. West African time. Tomorrow, it's another date for business stories, finance stories, and economic stories coming from here on the continent. I'm Tolulokwe Adileru Balogun. Have a fantastic day.